Good morning. I'm taking a walk. I'm taking you with me. It's much more still this morning than it was on my last walk, which was really windy. Really fucking windy. So, let's turn this camera around. Or not. Fuck. Yeah. I guess I can't do that, so I'll just walk and talk. So, out here with the birds. That's the best part about living on the edge of this small fucking town. The birds. I mean, there are so many different birds. It's incredibly fucking fascinating. There's the little tiny finches. There's lots of hummingbirds. There's crows and hawks and cardinals. Lots of cardinals. Blue jays. Mourning doves. The northern flicker. The northern flicker is the bird that got me started watching the birds because it was feeding in the yard with the robins, right? But it was bigger than the robins, and it had this red swish, like a Nike swish, on the back of its head, and it's like spotted, and it just did not look like a robin, but it was out there feeding with the robins. So I was like fascinated and trying to figure out what the fuck is this? It's not a robin. And so I started trying to sketch the little fucker, and started scouring, the websites, how to identify this bird. And then, well, it's COVID and lockdown, and bird watching apparently became quite the popular pastime, not just with myself. So anyway, yeah, I've always enjoyed the birds. And once upon a time when I believed in spirit animals or whatever I thought I believed in, I thought that, thought a lot of stuff. But let's see, I'm thinking about the hawks, because the hawk was one of my spirit guides or some shit. So, every time I saw one, which I live in the fucking country, so there's a lot of them, they were always talking to me, because, hey. Oh, and the cardinals. Cardinals, I heard, were messengers from beyond. So every time I saw a cardinal, my first thought was, oh, my grandma. No, it's not. It's not. I'm not even sure it's a lovely sentiment. Nah. I love my grandma. I miss my grandma. I have to say that if my grandma were alive today, I would almost bet money that my grandma would be deconstructing her supernatural beliefs right along with me if she had been with me this last year. My fire-breathing Baptist family think that they know Grandma, and they think that they knew Grandma, and they think that she was a believer the same way that they are believers, and I don't believe that's true, because Grandma had an open mind. Grandma explored and questioned and pondered and didn't run away from all the hard questions. Like, like some of the fuckers in my family tree. You know, they started, they had no problem, you know, beating me over the head with their Bible and their, you know, pleas and messages of salvation and hellfire and brimstone and shit like that. But, and once I started actually deconstructing and really examining the reasons that I held belief in unsubstantiated claims, just because I hadn't really examined or understood the whole role of epistemology. And while I aced my college philosophy classes, I held on really long to some ideas that were based on a personal out-of-body experience. Yes, I was tripping on mushrooms when that happened. Right out of the top of my head, my consciousness flew or slipped or whatnot, and I observed the world without any matter. Just pure consciousness. No body, no weight, no feelings, no matter. But I was still present, and I observed them, my friends, you know, trying to bring, you know, carry my body around because I had exited, you know. And then I experienced the sensation of coming back into my body through the top of my head, which was, you know, kind of like some of the stories that I had read when I was reading about reincarnation and shit. So, it made sense at the time, and it seemed perfectly plausible. And that may have been something to do with Janis Joplin. I don't know.